Should we just, we are now live, so we will wait for, I see some attendees coming in, so I'll just give it maybe a minute or 30 seconds. Donc, je pense qu'on peut commencer maintenant. Bonsoir tout le monde, bienvenue au conseil du 21 juin 2021. Welcome everybody to the mid-month council meeting of June. I think we just have a few updates today and a shorter agenda because it is a mid-month meeting. So I just wanted to give couple updates. I just wanted to congratulate all the students on finishing this school year. And so a lot of the schools wrapped up on Friday. We'll see the rest of them will wrap up by this Wednesday. And especially to the teachers who worked incredibly hard in this pandemic. And we have so many schools in Westmount. So I want to thank them. And they worked really closely with my office as well to book green space. And I think you probably would have seen it. You would have seen kids outside in classrooms outside all throughout the city. And I applaud that. And I guess when we talk about things that we hope will last after COVID, that's one that we hope will last. And that our public green spaces and our parks are used by the kids that are going to school in Westmount as well during the day. So I want to thank the teachers and all of the principals that were in constant communication with me and with our office. And there have been some great initiatives that have come out of this year and how closely we worked with schools. So, and to the graduates, the ones that are graduating from high school, especially this year, you were robbed of your typical grade 11 year in some senses, but you rose to the challenge and you will be part of a generation that will never forget the year that you lived, and you gave up so much. And so many of the students gave up so much this year in terms of sports and extracurricular and just the socializing that comes with being a high school student. So I want to wish the graduates all the best as they head into their next chapter, and many of whom will go to CEGEPs in Westmount, at Dawson and Marianopolis. But wish them all the very best in their next chapter in their lives. And I think on behalf of everybody, just say thank you for all that the students did and contributed to helping us get through this year and the sacrifices that they made. And so as we hope and plan for our sports to come back, I know that schools are doing the same, and that we hope that the return in September is a return that has a little bit more, I guess we'd call it, normalcy to it. So again, congratulations to all of the graduates of 2021. Another update I would have today is that today, June 21st, we join together in celebrating National Indigenous Peoples Day. The contribution of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people to the history, culture, and development of our city and our country is fundamental and must be recognized and honored. We also acknowledge that there is so much more work we need to do towards truth and reconciliation. The recent and tragic discovery on the site of an ancient residential school in Kamloops has shocked all of us. So many children were taken from their homes and never returned. This discovery is another example of the discrimination and oppression that Indigenous peoples have endured. This has heightened our awareness of the suffering and the challenges faced by Indigenous peoples, and we must work towards reconciliation. So on this summer solstice day, I hope all will partake in the celebration of the culture and history of Indigenous communities. And I'd also just like to point out that the Westmount Public Library has a large selection of books for all age groups that teach about Indigenous peoples and as well reconciliation. So we hope and encourage you to take this opportunity to learn more about it, about the Indigenous people and the discrimination that they have faced. So I wish everybody a wonderful Indigenous Peoples Day. And on that note, I would also I'd like to congratulate Nakuset, who today received a very special award from the City of Montreal, and for all of her work and commitment to the Resilience Center and the Native Women's Shelter. And the award she received today is certainly well deserved. And our commitment from the City of Westmount is to continue to work with them and to ensure especially that the tent that we have, that they have erected in Cabot Square that is doing so much good and helping so many, continues to be there to offer the support to that community. So on that note, I will hand it over to some of the other councillors who have updates tonight. I think we will begin with Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So later today, we're going to be introducing a notice of motion for bylaw 1574 to abolish the Board of Inspections, designate the authority having jurisdiction for the administration and enforcement of bylaws, and amend various urban planning and bylaws accordingly. That's quite a mouthful, but previously we've spoken about our existing bylaws, especially particularly our urban planning bylaws that have been needing some updates. And we, at the outset, we thought it would just be a few tweaks, but after some examination, we required that it needed some more intensive rework. And so what you're going to be seeing today is kind of the fruit of that exercise. This bylaw is essentially administrative. It won't change a lot in terms of how things work in the city, but it's a lot of the back of the office work. But it's important because it's a foundational piece, and it'll set us up for the changes that we have envisioned going forward. So just a little bit of background: the Board of Inspections, we call it the BOI, was created all the way back in 1967. Now, at that time, that preceded the Land Use and Planning Act at the provincial level, which came along in 1979. So our laws always have to be aligned with the provincial laws. Now, at the time, it was normal for regulation to give discretionary powers to municipal officials, and by that I mean the employees who work for the city. And it's been told to me that it was typical for that time, particularly in jurisdictions with an Anglo-Saxon tradition, for this to be the case. However, in Quebec, it's illegal for a municipality to delegate discretionary powers to an employee or group of employees, unless expressly authorized to do so. Therefore, the BOI, the Board of Inspections, currently has some powers which must be removed. So this step here, we're proposing to change this. Now, the repeal of Bylaw 709, which was the bylaw that created the Board of Inspections, the repeal of this bylaw isn't a major change for the city, but it's a useful update to the decision-making structure for permit processing. This will simplify things. This takes out a step in the permit process. We've talked a lot about simplifying the process. This is one of those key elements. So in the absence of a Board of Inspection, it doesn't mean that things are going to move, that there aren't the same protections or aren't the same oversight that the city has. We already have layers of legislation that protect our built heritage. They include the PEA, they include the CCU. This just takes an administrative step out of the procedure. Now, one key component of this is the term authority having jurisdiction. We have a smattering of bylaws throughout the history of the city, and they will identify individuals or roles in a different terminology. So in this bylaw, what we're doing, we're kind of dipping into a multitude of bylaws and harmonizing the terminology that's being used, so that when one bylaw is being read in concert with another bylaw that might rely on yet another bylaw, we're using the same terminology. These bylaws then become coherent, they become more comprehensive, and it gives us a better consistency in the application of our bylaws. So like I've said before, this is something that's a foundational piece. It's not very exciting. We're not changing a bunch of things, but it's an important piece administratively for the administration, and it should make things work a little bit more smoothly for the end user, which are residents of the community.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peart. Any other updates? No? You're good. Thank you. The next, Councillor Breshke has some updates tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, happy National Indigenous Peoples Day. It's a great day to recognize Indigenous people, and I really enjoyed listening to the mayor's introductory comments about it. I do encourage everyone to read more about Indigenous peoples at the library, and lots of books available. My few comments today are with respect mainly to what's going on in District 5 in terms of some traffic things. First, as you will see on Lansdowne, the parking has moved to the east side of the road. But more significantly, one of the items that are listed in today's council for list of applications to be reviewed under Bylaw 1305 include the construction of a 2-story home with the basement at 314 Lansdowne. So we'll be passing that this evening. And in other news, at Prince Albert Square, you may have noticed that there is a very large no stopping sign. This was put up there for safety reasons. So for any loading or unloading of merchandise should be done outside of that area for safety reasons. So residents can, first I'd like to thank residents who brought these issues to my attention, and not to hesitate to contact public security should there be idling vehicles that are getting onto the pavé uni of Prince Albert Square. And you may have noticed, if you've been walking around St. Catherine, that the trailers of Groupe Maurice are no longer there on St. Catherine. They have been moved, and there's going to be some landscaping planned on the area shortly. It was their decision to move, and I'd like to thank all the input from residents living across the street with regards to the going back of a lot of vehicles in that area, and would like to thank the administration for their regular meetings with Groupe Maurice to find various solutions. So although the construction is going to be going on entering into phase 3, there will be less movement on St. Catherine for that reason. And this completes my updates for the day. So thank you very much, Mayor Smith.
Thank you, Councillor Brushke. And yes, I echo your sentiments about the Groupe Maurice project. It's a large construction project that was having an impact on the neighborhood. So thank you for, you had worked hard on that as well to minimize as much as we can the impact on an area that has lived through, years and years of construction, first from the hospital, certainly. So, and now this, and the work that was done at the Vondo Metro Station. So thank you for that update. Councillor Gallery, I think, has an update as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a few short updates, mostly reminders. Summer day camp starts next Monday, so we're thrilled to get the kids out in the parks and in our program. And the following week, on Monday, July 5th, the Westmount Public Library will be reopening. So we're also very excited to welcome our residents and library members into the building. It will be restrictive, so please check out the website for how to best access the library. Also this week, we have 2 celebrations coming up. We have the Fête Nationale. We have an online quiz this Wednesday, July 23rd. So please register and test your Quebec culture. And for Canada Day, on July 1st, we'll be launching the Westmount Interactive Mystery Walking Tour Adventure. And all the information can be found online, but that will be going on throughout the summer. So we're excited to showcase Westmount's monuments and special places. Lastly, I also would like to acknowledge National Indigenous Peoples Day, and I thank the Mayor for her comments and encourage you to check out the bibliography that's on the Westmount Public Library page under the heading of Indigenous Voices. And I wish you a great end of June and enjoy the longest day of the year. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that is it for updates from council as well. And just a note on some of the COVID updates, and it's something that residents have been asking me as well, especially with the pool opening. why we continue to have the restrictions and a cap of 75 people at a time and having the online booking system. And so while we are steadily trending down in terms of cases and hospitalizations, and we're going from yellow to green zones, we still have to implement the 2 meter distancing. So while that is happening and while that is in place, we will still have to have caps on numbers in places like the pool and the library and our other buildings. So I know that this is a point of frustration for many residents, but we certainly have to follow the guidelines set out for us from Santé Québec. But hopefully this trend will continue and that we'll be able to lift further restrictions. But for now, the pool reservation system works in a similar way to it that it did last year. And it seems, while it wasn't a too hot or too sunny week last week, I was over there a couple times and it looked like it was full and the lifeguards were working hard. So I encourage you all to book your spot, get your card and book your spot. So I think that's it for updates from our end. So now we will move, on va commencer avec la première période de questions. Monsieur le greffier.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. On a reçu quelques questions aujourd'hui. Our first question is from John Fretz. And his question is, good evening. My understanding is that Public Works has promised to paint cycling chevrons on Sherbrooke Street. When will this be done? The school holidays are here and there are more bikes. Thanks, John Fretz.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Fretz. I will clarify with Public Works, but I do not believe there was any intention to place what they call sharrows on Sherbrooke Street. But our line painting is well underway and almost completed. And so you'll see that all throughout the city, but I will certainly double check. And if you want to send me an email, we can clarify if someone from Public Works had told you that, but we can be in touch about that. But it is my understanding that there is no plan to put those on Sherbrooke Street right now. Does anyone else want to comment on that? No? Okay, thank you. Next question.
Okay, our next question is from Pauline Paul. And the question is, bonjour, je souhaite demander au conseil municipal de Westmount d'adopter une résolution pour condamner la persécution du Falun Gong par le Parti communiste chinois, PCC, et leur pratique horrible de prélèvement forcé d'organes à des fins lucratives. J'aurais aimé joindre à ma demande un PowerPoint soumis à Madame Kez jeudi dernier, expliquant plus en détail et contenant un projet de résolution. Plusieurs pays ont renforcé leur législation contre le tourisme d'achat d'organes illicites. Le Canada est aussi en voie d'adopter un tel projet de loi. Je suis convaincu que le soutien que les villes peuvent apporter en adoptant une résolution en ce sens aidera grandement le Canada pour enfin adopter ce projet de loi à Chambre des communes.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Paul, pour votre question. Puis j'ai reçu, Madame Kez m'a envoyé l'email la semaine passée que vous avez envoyé. Puis je vais envoyer ça au notre bureau de greffier. Mais je vous encourage d'écrire à Monsieur Marc Garneau, qui est votre député, mais aussi le ministre des Affaires étrangères avec cette information. Mais j'en ai pas plus de détails que ça.
Si vous me permettez, je veux juste
je
veux juste dire merci beaucoup pour votre courriel. Et comme Madame mairesse vous avez dit que oui, j'ai transmis votre courriel avec le PowerPoint de la mairesse. C'est vrai, c'est une situation horrible et c'est très sérieuse. Et comme la mairesse vous avez conseillé, c'est vraiment fort conseillé de contacter votre Monsieur Garneau. C'est très important parce que quand même, on ne peut pas fermer les yeux à la situation comme ça. Et voilà, merci.
Merci beaucoup. The prochaine question, next question.
Our next question is from Dennis Bureau. And his question is, for many decades now, the Board of Inspections has been an important feature of Westmount's process for the enforcement and administration of the city's urban planning bylaws. What specifically is not working or is broken in the existing process? Under the proposed bylaw 1574, how will the new organizational structure and process centered around authorities with jurisdiction correct these problems?
Thank you, Mr. Bureau, for your question. I think many of those details were addressed if you were listening to Councillor Peart's opening statement. This is something to make our administration work better and more efficiently. But I will let Mr. Peart update with any further details on this. But this is an important step in that direction.
Indeed, thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'll just recap quickly. The question is about what's broken, and what's broken is quite simply that it is I won't say illegal, but a non-conforming bylaw, in that it doesn't respect the provincial requirements, and it confers powers to municipal employees that they should not have. And this is not to say that the powers that were previously conferred are lost. They've just been more regularized, and now with this authority having jurisdiction, they will be named. And an added benefit of this structure too is that instead of being shepherded off from one person in the department to another, an applicant will have a point person, and that point person will be able to accompany them through the process from beginning to end. So we think that'll be a better resident experience, a better permit application experience for our end users, and overall it should streamline the process. So I hope that answers your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Peart. And that the last point that you brought up really is what will affect the residents mostly, and because it is more of an administrative side of things, but that they will have one point person within the urban planning department that will follow the file the whole way through. But it is so that's a significant part for citizens. Thank you for your question, Mr. Bureau. Any further comments on that? No? Anyone? No? Okay, thank you. Next question.
So our last question is from François Lheureux, and his question is: Ma question s'adresse à Madame la mairesse Christina Smith et elle concerne le processus de démolition du 325 Melville. Madame la mairesse, en revisant l'ensemble des commentaires de différents acteurs colligés par la ville et qui apparaissent dans la section démolition de son site web, plus particulièrement dans la sous-section intitulée Demande de démolition 325 Melville, en continuant à cliquer, on se retrouve dans une ultime sous-section qui contient 38 pages de commentaires. Or, lorsqu'on prend connaissance de la lettre /avis que le propriétaire en titre au 20 décembre dernier, M. Émile Subirana, transmettait aux locataires des 325 et 327, on y lit à la dernière ligne, cette démolition a été approuvée par la ville de Westmount, alors que cela a été et est encore faux. En reproduisant une telle fausseté et d'autres sur son site web, est-ce que, à l'instar de l'éditeur du journal, nos élus réalisent qu'ils avaient les fausses informations qu'ils omettent de vérifier, mais que les citoyens impliqués ou concernés redoivent et ont tout lieu de croire vraies alors qu'elles sont vraies? Madame la mairesse, qu'allez-vous faire pour rectifier les faits et rapporter la vérité sur le site web de la ville de Westmount?
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Lheureux, pour votre question. En effet, il y a plusieurs commentaires sur notre site web de résidents qui ont soumis des commentaires concernant la demande de démolition de 325 Melville. Et en effet, il n'y a pas un permis qui a été approuvé, mais notre engagement est que nous publions tous les commentaires sans leurs données personnelles. Donc, on ne met pas les emails, et il y en a beaucoup avec des adresses, mais on ne change pas. Donc, c'est... et aussi, il y a eu il y a des choses de disinformation sur ce dossier, et c'est dommage, mais nous n'avons pas la possibilité de contrôler toute l'information. Mais ça fait partie du processus démocratique. Donc, on ne fait pas des changements sur les commentaires des citoyens. On met là, sans détail, avec les adresses et les noms. à part de ça, non, on fait peut-être des changements, mais vous avez raison. Il n'y a pas un permis pour la démolition de 325 Melville. Est-ce qu'il y en a d'autres commentaires sur cette question ou sur le dossier? Non? OK. Ça, c'est toutes les questions, Monsieur le greffier?
Oui, c'est tout.
OK, on va commencer avec l'adoption de l'ordre du jour, le conseiller Gallery. Madame Gallery.
Oui, thank you, Madam Mayor. I move that the agenda of the regular council sitting of June 21st, 2021 be adopted with the addition of the following items under new business. 12.1, request for proposals, purchase of a pump track.
I'm on mute. So thank you, Councillor Gallery. Do I have a seconder on that? Councillor Bostock, all in favor? Carried. Item number 5, again, Councillor Gallery, approbation du procès verbal, numéro 5.
I move that the minutes of the regular council sitting held on June 7th, 2021 be approved.
Thank you. A seconder on that will be Councillor Breschke. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6, rapport au conseil. 6.1, la correspondance. Il n'y a aucun rapport est déposé. 6.2, le procès verbal du comité plénier. Encore Madame Gallery.
The minutes of the general committee meeting of council held on May 17th, 2021 are tabled and are available on the city's website.
Thank you. That is it for the tabling of documents. Item number 7, very important motion tonight. Use of voting by mail, elector or qualified voter on the list of electors in a capacity other than that of a domiciled person. Councillor Gallery.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas pursuant to the provisions of section 582.1 of the Act respecting elections and referendums in municipalities, the ministre may by regulation determine the manner in which a person entered as an elector or a qualified voter on the list of electors or referendum list in a capacity other than that of a domiciled person may exercise the right to vote by mail. Whereas under the provisions of section 659.4 of the Act respecting elections and referendums in municipalities, a resolution must be passed not later than July 1st of the calendar year in which a general election is to be held, or in the case of a by-election, not later than the 15th day after the day in which the council is informed of the polling date. In the case of a referendum poll, the resolution must be made during the sitting of the council during which the polling date is to be set. The same rules apply to be a resolution passed to annul a previous resolution. I move to use voting by mail for any person registered on the list of electors or referendum list as an elector or a person qualified to vote in another capacity than that of a domiciled person during any poll.
Thank you very much. A seconder on this motion will be Councillor Bostock. Any further comments on this, Councillor Gallery?
Well, it's a big change to allow voting by mail. So exciting with the upcoming elections.
Yes.
Will benefit our residents, hopefully.
Yes, certainly it will. And let's hope that we have a higher voter turnout rate for the government that is closest to the people than we have in the past. So thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 8, appointment division head, management and planning of building projects, engineering department. Councillor Cutler.
Madam Mayor, I move that Ms. Sanula Ravindra be appointed to the position of division head, management and planning of building projects of the engineering department, grade 6, effective July 12, 2021, in accordance with the salary recommendation of the Director of Human Resources Department as stipulated in decision-making file number 2021-1291, and according to the terms provided in the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel, and that this appointment be on a permanent basis once Ms. Ravindra has completed a maximum probationary period of 12 months in accordance with Section 2 of the working conditions and remuneration of management personnel.
Thank you very much. And a seconder on this item will be Councillor Peart. Any further comments on this, Councillor Cutler? This is a great addition to the team.
It is, and those who frequent these meetings know we've definitely emphasized our city buildings over the last several years. I think there's quite a bit of deferred maintenance on those buildings, and so this is an important position that we're really hoping is going to allow us to catch up and actually stay ahead of a lot of the repairs. And you know, we own a lot of buildings in the city. A lot of them are very old buildings, and so it's very important. So anyway.
Great, thank you, and welcome, welcome, Ms. Ravindra. You're a welcome addition to the team, and you bring lots of experience to this. So we look forward to seeing you, hopefully in person on July 12th. Did I have a seconder for that, Mr. Brownstein? Yeah, it'll be Councillor Peart. Okay, all in favor? Carried. Item number 9, adoption bylaw 1573 to amend bylaw 1556 concerning contract management. City Clerk.
I'd like to report that all formalities required for dispensing with the reading of this bylaw have been observed, and that copies of the bylaw have been remitted to all members of council and are available for public reference. The object of this bylaw is to implement measures to favor goods and services from Quebec, as well as suppliers, insurers, and businesses with an establishment in Quebec. The object of this bylaw is also to modify Annex 4 of the bylaw concerning contract management for further clarity.
Thank you. Can I have the declaration by each member of council present that he or she has read the bylaw and reading is waived thereof?
So declared.
Thank you. Councillor Kez.
I move that bylaw 1573 entitled bylaw to amend bylaw 1556 concerning contract management be adopted.
Thank you. And a seconder? Councillor Breschke. All in favor? Carried. I declare that bylaw number 1573 entitled bylaw 1556 concerning contract management having been duly adopted, is ordered that notices be given as required by law. Item number 10, notice of motion bylaw 1574 to abolish the Board of Inspections, designate the authority having jurisdiction for the administration and enforcement of bylaws, and amend various urban planning and municipal bylaws accordingly. Councillor Peart.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hereby give notice of motion of the intention to submit to a subsequent meeting of council bylaw number 1574 entitled Bylaw to abolish the Board of Inspections, designate the authority having jurisdiction for the administration and enforcement of bylaws, and amend various urban planning and municipal bylaws accordingly. The purpose of this bylaw is to harmonize the designation of municipal officers and employees for the enforcement and administration of urban planning and municipal bylaws, and to use the term authority having jurisdiction in these bylaws. This bylaw repeals bylaw 709 to constitute the Board of Inspections and its amending bylaw. A copy of the draft bylaw is tabled and available for public consultation.
Thank you very much. We do not need to vote on that. Item number 11 again is Councillor Peart, urban planning, approval of site planning and architectural integration programs.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I move that according to the recommendations made by the Planning Advisory Committee at its meetings held on June 7th and June 8th of 2021, the conditions for the issuance of the building permit applications appearing on the attached list, reviewed under bylaw 1305 on site planning and architectural integration programs, be approved.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder on this? Councillor Bostock. Any significant files that you want to highlight, Councillor Peart?
Well, as Councillor Breschke mentioned earlier, we have the demolition and reconstruction project at 314 Lansdowne, and there's a refacing or a refacading of a project on Green Avenue. But beyond that, it is mostly the minors, which constitute the windows and doors replacements to which we are all regularly accustomed.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Carried. Item number 12 of new business, Councillor Gallery. You're on mute, Councillor Gallery.
Sorry. Thank you. I move to authorize an expenditure in the amount of $89,929.59, including tax credits, for purchase of a pump track, to award to Atmosphare Inc. the contract for this purpose at its proposal for a maximum amount of $98,484.63, including taxes, the whole in conformity with the contractual documents of the request for proposals. To allocate this expenditure in accordance with the financial information included in the decision-making file number 2021-1302.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder on this motion? Councillor Bostock, any further comments on this? This is
an exciting new addition to one of our spaces in Westmount. It hasn't been confirmed exactly where yet it will go, but it is a modular unit, so it can be moved. It's oval in shape, and we think it's going to be a great addition and lots of fun for our younger residents.
Yeah, I agree, and it's something that we have long discussed and have never had not been able to, or had not moved forward on. And you can see them in communities all across the country, and they are certainly a welcome asset in parks and communities across the country. So I think it will be as well for us. And this too is another is something else that we've realized, that the importance of our parks and how much people are using them and the outdoor spaces, and offering as much of that as we possibly can. So I look forward to adding this as an added feature in Westmount. So all in favor? Carried. And that brings us to the end of the agenda. And to the second question period. I'm not sure there are any questions. If there are no questions, we will adjourn the meeting. No?
We have no questions received for our second question period today. Sorry, that it seems that there may be one.
Madame la Mairesse. Monsieur Lehrer. I don't see a question there.
Me neither. Okay.
Monsieur Lehrer, you are welcome to email me. I don't see a question there, but I see just my name. You are certainly welcome to email me at csmith@westmount.org if you have any further questions. And I will, for those that are unaware, there is a demolition hearing on Wednesday, June 23rd at 5:30 p.m. is our next public meeting. And after that, the next council meeting is July 5th. So thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. And the meeting is adjourned. Merci tout le monde. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Thank you.